Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about unlocking the hidden potential inside one of the safest investments out there, the fixed deposit. We're going to show you how to take this simple, reliable tool and turn it into a real money-making engine. So let me just ask you this straight up. Are your FDs really working as hard as they could be? Most of us just kind of set them and forget them. But what if I told you that by doing that, you might be leaving money on the table every single month? And that brings us to what I like to call the fixed deposit paradox. See, we love FTs because they feel safe, they're predictable. But let's be honest, the returns can feel, well, a little boring. But what if the problem isn't the FT itself? What if the real issue is that we are just letting the bank do all the driving? And this slide right here, it's all about a huge shift in mindset. On the left, you've got the standard way, the bank's way. It's passive, they compound it quarterly, and you get standard returns. But on the right, that's where we're headed. An active approach that you control with monthly compounding that can lead to some seriously impressive growth. So how do we get from the left side to the right side? We build something called a monthly compounding engine. Now I know, it sounds kind of technical, right? But trust me, it's a surprisingly simple strategy you can set up yourself, probably without ever leaving your banking app. The whole thing is built on this one core idea: manual monthly compounding. It's as simple as it sounds. Instead of letting your interest just sit there locked away, you tell the bank to pay it out to you every month. Then, and this is the key, you immediately take that money and open a new FD with it. This is how you start to earn interest on your interest. And check this out. This little sketch from our source material shows it perfectly. You've got that initial interest payout, and then you see that first tiny bit of new interest that's earned on the old interest. To really get it, let's put some real numbers to this.
Okay, let's imagine you start with a principal amount of 10 lakh rupees, a really solid foundation to build our engine on. So you put that 10 lakh into an FD at, say, a 7% annual interest rate. Now, the crucial move here is you select the monthly payout option. When you do that, the bank will drop about 6,000 rupees right into your savings account every month like clockwork.
And now, this is where the magic really starts. You take that 6,000 rupees and you immediately create a brand new separate FD. After just 1 month, that new little FD is going to generate its own interest. It's about 35 rupees. I know, 35 rupees sounds like nothing, right? But this is huge. This is the first gear of your compounding engine turning. You are officially earning interest on your interest. All right, so you see the potential. I bet you're thinking, okay, I'm in. How do I actually build this thing? Well, let's walk through the exact steps. It really is just a simple 3-step loop. Step 1, and you have to get this part right. When you create your main FD, you must choose the monthly payout option, not the standard cumulative one. Step 2 is easy. That interest, our 6,000 rupees, just shows up in your savings account. And step 3, you take that cash and immediately create a new FD. That's it. You started the engine. Here's a fascinating little quote from our source material. It's not like this is some kind of secret loophole. It's just a level of control and detail that, isn't usually offered up. It's a strategy that puts the power and, a tiny bit of extra effort right back into your hands. Okay, so now you've got the basic engine running. It's humming along nicely. But what if you want to add some rocket fuel? Well, that's what we're calling the booster strategy. The idea is so simple, but the impact is just massive. Every month, right before you create that new FD with your interest payout, you just add a little extra. You throw in some of your own regular savings, combining it all into one bigger FD. And here's the payoff. This chart says it all. Look at the left bar. If you just reinvest the interest, after 1 year, you've built up a new batch of FDs worth about 70,000 rupees. That's pretty good. But look at the bar on the right. By adding just 10,000 rupees of your own savings each month, the booster strategy, that new pool of money skyrockets to over 190,000 rupees. It's not even close. Now you might be thinking, whoa, that sounds like a ton of little FDs to keep track of. And you're right, it could get complicated. That's why our source suggests this brilliant little system, the 30th rule. All you do is pick one day of the month, let's say the 30th, and you do everything on that day. You let all your interest payouts pile up, you add your booster savings, and you create one single larger FD. It turns a potentially messy task into a simple 5-minute monthly ritual. All right, we're almost there. Before we wrap up, we've got to cover a little bit of the fine print, and then we'll look at the final amazing payoff one more time. First things first, taxes. Can't ignore them. So here's the deal. If your total interest income for the year goes over 50,000 rupees, the bank is required to deduct a 10% tax, called TDS, before they even pay you. But, and this is the important part, if your total income is below 12 lakhs, you can usually claim that TDS amount back as a refund when you file your taxes. So just be aware of it. So let's just put it all side by side one last time. On the left, you've got the standard passive FD. It's automatic, sure, but your money is locked up and it's inflexible. On the right, you have our active booster strategy. It takes a few minutes a month, but you are constantly fueling the fire, adding new capital. And the result? You don't just get a slightly better return, you create a whole separate pool of new FDs worth over 190,000 rupees. It is a fundamentally different and way more powerful outcome. And that really brings us to the final question, the one only you can answer. You've seen the numbers, you know the strategy. It takes just a few minutes each month to take back control and turn a passive investment into an active growth engine. So the only question left is this kind of growth worth that tiny bit of monthly effort? Thanks for tuning in.